Austin to share in about 2 or 3 minutes how it was when he started. Perhaps that will give us all a little way.
Thank you very much. This is a very good forum. Before I go to my story, I want to encourage everybody here not to fall when challenges come, not to give up when challenges come. My friend over there, what happened has happened. It is not your fault. You can't even, if you want to blame the government is bigger than you. Much, much bigger than you. If you want to go to court, you will pay the best lawyers. You might not even get solution in 5 years. So what you do is you forget that past. Believe in your dream. That magazine, that launching you wanted to do, many people did not come because the date changed, right? People that were supposed to come did not come. You know? Then plan again. Then there is one problem with young people. When they have a vision and a passion for something, they want to continue running without something, not minding the problems and the skating that will come to it. They injure themselves, they wound themselves trying to achieve that. Whereas, it is not one way that leads to the market. That's a Yoruba adage. Now, if you're pursuing that magazine, before I go to my story, you're pursuing that magazine publication, you want it to be the best agricultural magazine in the world, right? You might not need to go through that particular way to do that launching constantly. There might be other events you can organize, things you can do that are not as expensive as 4 million. Things that can even be, you use a hall that is free because you're in partnership with somebody. Are you understand what I'm saying? You're in partnership with a ministry or an organization. And then you invite people and you network other people. You'll be surprised. You will make so much name, so much impact just because you thought out of the box. You imagined. Imagination. So don't stereotype yourself. Don't make yourself one-way train. Look for other ways, other things you can do. And you will get your dream. The man that says they asked him to make a bribe or a settlement, that is not the only way. There are people that are higher than those people that ask you to pay a certain amount before you get what you want. That only a phone call from somebody that knows that person, everybody will disappear. And they will attend to you as if you are the president of the country. I've seen it happen in so many cases. But how do you connect to that person? There are 6 people away from the person you are looking for. Look for these 6 people and you get to that person. That is higher and stronger than that people that said you must settle before you get. And the truth is, it's not all about money. The organization I had, I with my wife, called P1 Group, had no life 10 years ago, had no life 9 years ago. We didn't even know we were going to be there. It's a very big organization with 22 centers, over 50,000 partners, 12 directors, 12 companies, and doing over ₦1 billion every month. It is an unbelievable venture that started from I just looking for 300,000 naira to rent a house. I was homeless for 2 years, 13 different places. I begged to stay. 2 months, I'm thrown out. 1 month, 3 weeks, church, what do they call it? Church camp, church room. They give me a room in a church. We're just moving from one place to another for 13 different locations in 2 years. But all I knew is I wanted to succeed. Why these 2 years was going on, I understand information marketing. I understand running seminars. I've done network marketing for years. I would print an ordinary flyer, 1,000 pieces, advertise a program, how to earn maybe 200,000 monthly, all those days, through internet marketing, through information marketing. I designed the words to attract people. I go and book a hall. I might not have the money, 20, 30,000. Then I put an account number. People register before the date. I have the content I want to deliver. Do you understand what I'm saying? In that 13 months, 2 years of living in 13 different places, I was running seminars at least once every month. I knew how to print flyers. I knew Shomolu, I knew Mushi. I would place adverts on the internet telling people they can print flyers for 15,000. People will be paying money. I will run to Shomolu, print flyers, deliver, collect. Do you understand what I'm saying? I was busy making small money. You understand? Then I found this flyer that was promoting an estate in Ibejuleki in a full gospel businessmen fellowship international convention that held in 2011 November at the National Stadium. I picked up that flyer. My wife picked up that flyer, and we got into the car of the person that brought us to that convention. I brought her the flyer to show my wife. She brought her the flyer at the same time and showed me. And we looked at ourselves, and she asked me, are you thinking what I'm thinking? These people advertised over 1,000 plots at 300,000 in Ibejuleki. As I looked at her, she looked at me. We knew that we could sell for these people. I have learned how to sell. I have been selling all my life. And if you want to know the best skill you need to have as a young man, young woman looking for a way out in life, learn how to sell. What did I say? I will expand that later on when given a chance in this forum. So I told her, we can call these people, we can tell them we can sell. And we called them the following morning. We were still managing to stay in a room where a couple had a 3-bedroom flat. We gave them 100,000 to use that room and the living room at that time. We called the company and they came and they met us at Awosika Mayfair Gardens, which is their meeting point. The company had an office or has an office in Festac, but one major problem we saw they had is that you can't have an office in Festac and be selling that in the Ibejuleki. There's no office. So we had to stand in front of Mayfair Gardens together with other clients that came. They came and took us for that inspection. When we came back from the inspection, very far distance, about 1.5 hours journey from here, because they had to use a Land Rover because of the road that we're going to follow. So when we came back, we allowed all the clients that came to go, and then we met the couple who owned that business, that estate, and told them, please, we are not here to buy, we are here to sell. Just give us 120 plots, we will sell for you. We asked them, how much are you going to pay us out of the 300,000 naira per plot? They said, we don't pay commission. I said, do you mean if we market and bring somebody, you won't give us anything? They said, no, we won't give. And we must take our money, 300,000 naira per plot in whole. In the midst of this confusion, we asked them, okay, can we add our own profit? Yes, they said, any amount you want to add, just give us our 300,000 naira. So we said, okay, can we add 60,000? That is 360. After we discussed, me and my wife, said 360,000 naira per plot. No problem. Okay, can we copy your flyer? They said, no problem. So we took their flyer. I immediately got the graphic artist, replicated what they have there, but wrote 360,000. So that if we make a sale, they give us our 60,000. Do you understand that? For each plot. We kept on marketing at 360,000 naira for 2 months, no sale. And I'm telling you, we entered debt with the bosses that took people for inspection for us. We entered debt in a lot of things we were doing at that period. But we never gave up. Debt, 4 million, right? We continued doing that inspection until the Easter period of 2012, when we closely looked at that flyer and saw that all the calls we have been getting, we have getting a lot of calls. We wrote out over 3,000 names in 2 months. Phone calls that called us. You understand what I'm saying? We looked at that flyer, we said, there is something wrong about this flyer. People don't have 360,000 at a go. My wife said, okay, let us do it like this. Initial deposit, 60,000, then 25,000 naira every month for 12 months. It came to 360. Voila. We slept and woke up. Immediately that message went out. It was rain of money. 60,000 was flying in, even from Kaduna, from places you don't know, people that never came for inspection. I'll wake up in the night, I'll be crying, I'll be laughing and crying at the same time. I'll be looking at alerts. I'll be shouting, what is this? Is this money or what? In less than 3 months, we had made over 12 million naira. Then, one of the first few customers that paid to us, paid for 10 plots outright at 3.6 million. They had come 2 months before. So when we wanted to pay the people that gave us this land to sell, because at that collection system, whereby we had to take instrumental payment, we will not allow the money to go into their account, because they said they wanted 300,000 per person. You understand? Per plot. So we had to have our own account, collect the money, and we're ready to give these people money for 10 plots. You know what they said? They were surprised that we could bring money for 10 plots. They became greedy. They said, no, we are no longer selling for 300. We are selling for 350. Tears, headache, BP, everything at once. Shouting, quarrel. How do we do it? We didn't know. I never tell people this story, this part. You hear other parts, but this part is what gave us leverage. We didn't know what to do. For 2 weeks, it was all, please, sir, please, ma, please, take this money. We have collected money from people. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We couldn't keep quiet. We were always shouting, talking to each other. We couldn't hear ourselves. Me and my wife couldn't hear ourselves any longer. We couldn't feel ourselves. We were just, how do we solve this problem? Isn't that we're going to be arrested for fraud or what have you? You understand? Lo and behold, we were in a taxi that we normally hire. At that time, we didn't have a car. From somewhere in VI coming down, we got to Aja, and then we were moving forward to Lak where we were staying. I mean, Eputu, where we were staying. The driver was listening to us as we were talking about this problem. He heard everything. When we stopped at Aja to meet somebody, to take something from somebody, the driver said, Madam, Oga, I want to tell you something. The area you are calling, Elerongwe, I have a family who has a land that can sell it for you. You said the man and the woman will not collect your money. Tomorrow I will link you up with a surveyor and we'll go and see this land. Lo and behold, the land was just 10 minutes drive from the land that we had collected money from, that we could not pay the owners. What do? We call these people that bought land from us and we told them, if you want to pay extra 50,000 naira, you remain in that one. If you want the 360,000 you paid, you stay with us in this new one. Everybody shifted like vroom to us. Only one or two did not want. And we asked them to, we paid their money to the people that we were selling for initially. Just like that, we had 12 million. When we were discussing with this new family that we're buying from, we told them we'll pay 3 million naira, and every month we'll pay 3 million naira. So we had money for 4 months. Immediately, we knew that this job was not for us alone. We started hiring Portia Hotel, 30,000 naira every Saturday to do seminars that we called Work With Us in Nigeria. This is the blueprint I'm giving to you. Work With Us in Nigeria. We said, an internationally focused organization. We placed adverts in the paper, 7,000 naira. We spread it for 3 months, every Tuesday and every Thursday, which is the day that people who are looking for opportunity normally buy papers or read papers. We're on Guardian, we're on Punch. So people will call and come for seminars. Our halls began to be filled up. We were talking to people about it. We made registration to be free. Register with us, and we'll take you for inspection free of charge from the hall. We hire a bus, we'll take you to go and see the site. Before you know it, we have to put payments. You now have to pay either 4,650 to become a member or 37,650. It now became a business. It was no longer for looking for money. Value. We began to add value to people's lives who needed to make money. We now brought in, just a few weeks after that, we now brought in a seminar that is called Success Summit, where Pastor Philip was the lead speaker, and we called it Success Summit. Since that day to today, every 12th of the month, we had a program called Success Summit. The business has grown to over 50,000 marketers, 22 offices, 12 directors, 12 companies. Unbelievable, you will say. We did not give up. I knew I had to rent a place for my family. I was looking for 300,000. The first money I made was over 600,000 naira. I now moved from renting a flat in Eputu to taking a place at Chongotedo for 850. Dropped 600,000 with the landlord and told him in 2 weeks' time I will give you 250,000. Praise God. Can you see? You can do everything that you want. Just don't give up.
Thank you very much, Austin. Just do not give up. No matter how bad the thing is at that point in time, just don't give up. Madam, I noticed you are each one.
Question. Can I add this question to it so that you can just wrap this all up? Okay. I have 2 questions here. One says, I have a job. The pay is not good enough, but I have a dream of pursuing an entrepreneurial skill. Sir, would you advise I leave my job, to pursue my dream, because it will require time. And if no, how do I go about it? That's one. Next one, what do you do to help someone like me who felt that using a computer is no business to me? How did you help? How can you help in this direction? Thank you. I think
I would like to
the question was to Alex.
Alex, all right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you, sir. When your job is not paying you, some people earn 60,000, 70,000. Transport alone can be 20,000. Food can be 15,000. That's 35, remaining 25. It will not take you anywhere. Is it that you add an extra income opportunity? For instance, permit me to use this as an advert. Join P1 and become a real estate. You become a real estate marketer just from your phone. A lady that is now a director in my company came in 2012. No job. Trekked almost 20 kilometers to come to our office. Ujuchi Muba, the MD of P1 Prime now, came looking for how she could make money from P1. And we asked her to sign up. I just showed her a message she could send from WhatsApp. That time there was a BlackBerry. A message she could send to all her forum. Just by that meeting, a non-registered member of P1 sent that message out in 2 days. In 2 days, she made sales that gave her 700,000 naira. Hello? Your contact, your connection is your wealth. So if you are working in a job that leaves you with less to nothing, or it puts you in debt every month, my brother, my sister, resign. Or stay there, join other programs that will help you raise some income. There are two things: you resign or you stay there painstakingly, give yourself a gestation period to raise some funds from the things you do extra, to earn income. Do you know that, as simple as it may look, becoming a dry cleaner or a laundry person on your own as a worker working somewhere can raise you 150 to 250,000 monthly? What do I mean? You live in a street. There are estates around you. While you are still a worker, a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job, you have your Saturdays and your Sundays. Go discuss with a dry cleaning company. Make the MD your friend. They dry clean for 500 naira or wash for 500 for a shirt. Tell them I will bring you a job of 50,000 every weekend. Can you take 300 or 350 from me? Ladies and gentlemen, I have done it. I'm not telling you what I have not done. Take the 150 on top of it, or 200 on top of each of the jobs, but make sure that every Saturday morning you print a flyer that markets you as somebody that owns a dry cleaning company. You don't own it. Put your account number, put your office address, which could be your house address. From door to door, talk to everybody. You have the price list of the company. Remove the header, which is their company name. You know what I'm saying? Put the imaginary company name you want to start, which you have not registered. Do you understand what I'm saying? And go from door to door. Give your target 100 to 200 houses every Saturday and Sunday. Before you do it 2 weeks, 2 times, people will recognize you and see. Do an ID card for the company that has not been registered yet. Carry it on your body and go from door to door. Talk to people. Before you do it 2 Saturdays, 2 Sundays, people will have, oh, if this guy can come once, come twice, maybe I can trust you. Where is your place? You tell them, I live down the road. This is my address. It's on the flyer. They will give you their clothes, but make sure you give it to a very good dry cleaner or a laundry person. You can even employ one in the backyard of your house. I did it in 1999 to 2001. I even employed 4 to 5 people who were school leavers, who didn't have any work to do. And they were, after the thing grew so big, in a month I closed 150 to 250,000, as far back as then. And I paid them 30,000 for the work they did, for me.
Thank you very much, Austin. Thank you.
If your work is not paying you, it's either you leave the work or you take the work and have an extra job beside you.
Thank you very much, Austin. So that's it. Doing your work and keeping your side hustle. It's all about that same thing that Alex talked about, working smart. we can still control both of them. But then there was something Austin talked about. He said even you can do it even without registering your business. So now let's talk. I want to talk to and throw this question to Barris to go there now. He talked about registration. Why should I, as a small business, be bothered about registration or agencies that actually control all these things? As a small business, why should I be bothered?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I guess I'm going to still talk about this much in detail later, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me just, first of all, I just want to make some comments earlier before I go into that question you raised. First of all, the issue of money to start up a business. From all the discussions so far, what I can see from it is that there's always a service side to every business. I mean, I might be wrong, but correct me if I'm. So what I'm seeing is that yes, you have this lofty dreams of setting up this fantastic business, but there's always a service side to it. So, for example, you want to set up a dry cleaning outfit, like you said. So the service side is, oh, okay, I don't have the funds yet, but I can offer or render a service. Okay, I want to set up a school, but I don't have the funds to set up a school yet, but I can offer a service, so you can go from home to teach. So what that does for you, what that does for you is that it raises for you some form of capital. So if you don't have the funds, so I usually say the issue is not the funds. Actually, the issue is the big idea supported by a God who loves you. So if you have that big idea, and then, like you said, imagine. So funds should not really be the limitation. Then you go all out and offer a service, that can bring in income so that you can plan and set up. So that brings me to the question then, so is it proper? Can you, because, okay, for example, you mentioned putting the name of the business on the flyer. Now, most times they want to pay you in the name of that business that you said you own. Now, the challenge with that is that by the time you can't open a bank account without registering the name. So that is where the problem comes. So what it means is that you need to go and register a business name. Because if you have an ID card and a name printed on the flyer, you need to go register the name, get a bank account before you can put the bank account on the flyer. So that might not work. So unless you want to use some other person's business name registered already to do that. And most times people will find it difficult to pay you directly if they are doing business transactions into your personal account. So that's why it's important to have a registration at the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Can
much.
I add here? Once you have a business name registered, the business takes a life of its own. Don't be deceived. At the age of 17, I had registered my first business name, Mark Austin International Limited. I'm not using it again now. Business name registration is very easy. You can even do it yourself, not limited liability, where you need a lawyer. You can register a business name by yourself. Godi Dry Cleans. Godi, your name could be Godi, you understand what I'm saying? Put Dry Cleans in front. They will register it for you. I think the last figure I had was around 15 to 20,000 naira if you go by yourself, business name. And don't try to do limited liability by yourself because you need a lawyer's, what number is that? That's your number. Lawyer's number. Registration number to do it. And you cannot go through the process, even if you know how to do it. Yes. So business name is important for everybody as old as 18 to 21. Please get a business name because it makes you feel like you own something.
Absolutely.
It makes you want to raise your shoulder high and say, I'm a businessman. There is a difference. It puts a different spirit in you and makes you walk the extra mile to see that company stand on its own. Please, I plead with all of you, register a business name. Barrister can do it for you. If you don't want to go through the stress, they'll charge you extra for their services. Yes. But if you want to do it by yourself, CAC is at Yaba the last time I checked, right?
No, yes, there's one at
All right.
Mission, the Catholic Mission Street, just by the City Hall.
All right.
City Hall.
Okay, sorry, I'll talk more on that maybe when I'm given the time to just expand on the registration of business names and companies. But there's one question we not answered. Somebody raised a question about bribery and doing, the difficult terrain we do business in this country. And it's not something I think is not something we should overlook. It's something that it stares us in the face every day. And I like your stand, and I think I want to appreciate you for your stand. As Christians, we are not supposed to give or offer. Offer or receive, such such bribes or things like that in the area of our businesses. Now, let me tell you a story. In Nigeria today, the rule of law, it's the way it's going, we pray that God will help us. But the last hope of the common man is the courts. So we're taught in schools. I heard this story on the radio. I was driving home from work one evening, and someone called into the one of the airwaves and said he is a businessman and he imported some goods worth over about 55 million naira, and he had to take a loan from a bank, use his house as collateral, took a loan from the bank, and of course these goods came in and the custom officials were demanding for funds to facilitate the easy clearance of those goods. As a Christian, he said he wasn't going to do that. And he told them straight to their face that he wasn't going to do that. He's a child of God and he can't pay any form of bribe. So they told him, okay, we shall see. And they waited for him. So these goods were perishables, and he insisted he wasn't going to pay any form of bribe. This was telling the story on air. And 1 month passed, 2 months passed, 3 months passed. Apart from the goods perishing, they had incurred demurrage. So there was this extra cost of demurrage. There was also the cost that the goods were going to go by. So he waited all this while. Eventually, he didn't pay, and the goods were not released. And the goods went bad. And they still came for, in fact, someone called him on the phone and said, okay, fine, you're supposed to pay 5 million to the government. Just come and see us and give us 1 million, we'll release your goods. He said, 10 kobo, I am not paying you. Now, while this was going on, the banks came to take over his house because it was a mortgage loan. He had defaulted for about 4 or 5 months. So they took over the house, so he was in debt. There was demurrage to pay, and the goods he imported had perished. So, for me, that is the stance of a Christian. If you say you're a Christian and want to do business in this terrain, because you will find them. You will find them. Now, what did he do? He said he went to court. Of course, he has to claim damages, both the demurrage, the cost of the perished goods, and the cost of the mortgage loan he took and all that. So as at the time he was calling, court had granted him judgment in his favor against the Nigerian customs, and at that time it had gone on appeal. So we were waiting for the Supreme Court. So it is still possible, it is time, but that will be the test of your faith in doing business as a Christian in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I would like to come in because importation is what we do, and logistics is part of our job. In this case that you are saying, it could be that he did everything right. We have that situation that whatever you bring, custom will always find something. If something is supposed to be maybe 3.2 millimeter in size, and it's just 3.5, they will say, no, it's a finished product, it's a contraband, it's against. And that's why we always advise, we are bringing anything into the country. It is not like before anymore, please. Anything you want to bring, if your documentation from the beginning is faulty, you will have a problem. So please, some of us will cause problem for ourselves. And we give these customs the chance to take advantage of our own ignorance or carelessness or not being meticulous enough. We have customers that they bring stuff, and sometimes you wonder, do you think they are stupid? That you bring, you say it's 100 item, and it's 120 item that's inside. And even we, that is your agent, you didn't even tell us. Because, to be sincere with you, to work in Nigeria as a logistic firm, you are just there to defend your customer. So that means that when a problem is coming, you're supposed to tell your client, this is the problem you are going to face. And this is how we are going to go about solving it. When you bring the job, we look at it and say, okay, look, this, you are going to have problem here. We have customers when they are bringing items, because they just want to, you know, when you want to do something, you are so eager, and you just, can't I just bring this table? But you've forgotten this table, like this, it's contraband. But when these legs are apart, and this is apart, they are raw materials. So you need people that knows this thing to tell you that if you bring this phone, it's contraband. But let the screen come by air, let the leg come by this, you still achieve what you want to achieve. Because, to be sincere with you, this item is needed, and there's no way you can get it in Nigeria. You know, we deceive ourselves a lot. So many things you can't get it in Nigeria. We use packing materials, and most of our packing materials, you can't even get the good quality one in Nigeria. So you expect us to lose our business when we know that our client is expecting us to use a standard material. Please tell me, where will it come from? So it is you packaging your document very well. And you knowing that this aspect, you can't do it. We have clients coming to say, we are bringing this, we say, sorry, you know this is not allowed. Because number one, when it happens, our name is at stake. And that's why you hear, oh, they brought guns and all that. Sometimes the agents, they know. We have agents, we know some that will tell you, oh, you want to bring a book, and then you want to call it that you are bringing this. And that is what we do. So we reject it. Then when it comes to the bribe that you are saying, we are currently facing something. Although that is not in the logistic firm. We have a place that we are using as a resort. And for a long time, we like to do things the right way. That is, get your documentation right before you start building. Because right now in Nigeria, it's glaring that a lot of forces are working against you being an entrepreneur. When they see that you're about starting, nobody will look at you. Nobody. In fact, they will think you are joking. But the moment you start advertising, the moment they start seeing something, when we started the resort, we've not even built anything. They've already brought bills from local government. I'm not talking hundreds, I'm talking millions. And I'm like, what is here already now that we are getting this? Yes, they said, we see that you're advertising. That means that business is coming. And I'm like, won't you even allow the business to start? So we're doing our survey. We've done our survey, and you know, they've increased the money you pay for your MDS and all that. Now, we went to the government. Okay, give us, because anything close to waterfront, you don't do it the normal way. You go, they have an office for waterfront. They said, the government cannot give you everything, because 100 meters from the sea, it belongs to the government. Yes, we know. We said, no problem. Okay, you have to do another survey. We have given you the letter that this is what we are going to release to you. Do the survey. Okay, fine. Send your men. Then they said 1.something million again. You're like, why do I have to pay that amount? I have a survey. You are just to come and show me the coordinates. And then the guy said, no, madam, it is waterfront. I said, yes. Is it receipted? No, it is not receipted. This is the money you give us for coming from our office to the place. I said, don't worry, we'll use our vehicle to carry you. They said, no, madam, you are doing as if you are not a Nigerian. I said, okay, fine. Going by what you said, that, okay, go to your boss. You know, there will be 6 people, you can connect. I'm sorry, sometimes it doesn't work. We did that. I know it won't work, but you know, sometimes you know you are going to pay something, but you just, out of frustration, you want to frustrate them too. So I said, okay, barrister, right, go to the boss. And then we went to the boss. She's the lady. And then she said, okay, what did my people say? We said this. She said, actually, you know, I'm the boss. I don't get involved in it. It's a lie, you know. We know it's collaboration. I don't get involved in this, so you have to do it. But you know, the letter does not say we have to come and do it. Just go and choose the point yourself. He said, how can we choose a point when you are the government? You have said this is it. You have to show us what you've released. Because it has happened before. And then we know that, look, if you choose it and you go back, they will tell you, sorry, just like building plan. Whatever you do, they will always tell you, this balcony is not supposed to extend like this. But when you say, but you have an architect, can't see, I say, yes, we can do it for you. Then your building plan will go fine. So we did that. Now we are at the stage now that we have already said, okay, we don't have a choice. We have our own surveyor who is registered and can do everything you want to do. We will pay you just for coming now. We don't want you, just show the point. He said 200,000 naira. Meeting the boss, knowing that this will not change, we have decided that, okay, as long as it will be registered that we paid this money, no problem. So, to you that is saying, when it comes to bribing, it is a discussion that people don't really like to tell you how to go about it because of Christianity. What I will say is, before you go into any business, please, don't look at it that everybody wants you to do well. Always think that there will be somebody, especially somebody in one agency. It is not the government, because we are the government, but somebody in the agency that will want to frustrate your effort. So put that into consideration. Then the finance, that you get the finance. Yes, sometimes it looks as if, when you are being blunt, it looks as if you are not patriotic. But the truth is that nobody is ready to give you money for free in Nigeria. Nobody. Even if you have millions, which, like you say, you do turnover of every month, billion, if you still go to the bank, they will still tell you 2 digits is your interest rate. And we have gone through that. What I will say to you that want to be an entrepreneur is, please, don't be too much in a hurry. Sometimes when you are too much in a hurry, you get it wrong. Know that there's time and season, and that a step forward is better than you running. Because you may run into a big dish that you cannot take yourself out. You get money. We've had banks telling us many times, come and take money, come and take this. And we look at it. We have currently a job that we are doing now. It's going to 2 years. And I'm just imagining, maybe we took that money from the bank, maybe I won't be sitting right here now. Reason is because it runs into hundreds of euro, thousands. And we looked at it, how will we do this job? Okay, the best thing. When the bank approached, we said, oh, well, this is a good offer. We can do it because everything was really set. It was so convincing that once we do the job, because it has to do with a German company and another company here. And they said, you get your pay immediately. We never knew that even what is right under you can really cause you a lot of problem. Do you know that for 2 years now, our money is still with the bank? Number one. Number two, the supplier have gotten the first payment, which they said we should give, which is hundreds of euro that we gave. that, okay, they will produce whatever they want to produce, they send it, and then we now balance and get our money. So please, if we have taken that money, no matter what, they will say maybe, and that is even if you take agric loans, which, and this is not agric, they will say, okay, maybe 2 years, you just pay some bills, you don't have to pay the interest. We would have run into trouble. So just keep striving. As long as you are taking one step at a time, it will help. We are running a resort. This land was bought so many years ago. It's not now. So this idea is not just now. It's something that we've been planning. And God now said, this is the time. Although anybody that goes there, even till now, people say, why are you doing this? The road is bad. Why are you investing? And I'm looking at it. Do you think when they do that road, whatever I'm to pay now, do you think the government will allow me to pay then? They won't. And that's why we are doing it. So try to be a step forward. Move forward. Before they come, leave that place just before they even catch you. Just leave. No, you have done that. And that is what is happening in most of the business we are running now. You get there, before they start bringing policies, you have crossed it. You have already arranged yourself. You have already done the right thing. So when they bring out the policy, you don't feel it. When they changed from, to PA, from RA to PA, a lot of companies were shaking. How are we going to go about this? There's no more this, there's no more that. Now, for men, we have to really be careful. But I remember when we started, we said we want to invest in documentation because we saw it coming. The policy is what is ever changing in Nigeria. If the policy is favoring you, enjoy it while it lasts because it will soon change. So please, don't stay in one lane and try not to be in one business. It has helped us. Don't say because you are a tech geek and all that, you can't go into. There will always be something that will interest you to go into. And what interests you, you really give your time to it. And you excel. Do it. You may even be doing it just because you like it. I know so many people that are taking photographs now, and we didn't know them as photographers then. I know one that was just singing, and we're like, oh, okay, music. But now, everybody wants her to take their picture. So, please, don't let anybody make you feel that you can't do it. And remember, not every one of us will be an entrepreneur. Not every one of us. And once you remember that, know where you stand, be truthful to yourself. You know, when you do one or two things, you know this thing, really, maybe this is how I should do it. Just follow your heart, and then you get there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Very, very, very well said. Part of the things she talked about, said ease of doing business in Nigeria might be difficult, but it's still very possible to achieve a great deal. Spread your tentacles. Just don't limit yourself to one thing. Do as many things as you can. As many passions as you have. Try to fuel them, but take it a step at a time. What she means is start small, grow organically, and with time, that acorn which you planted becomes a big oak. And Pastor Ogo, I'm coming back to you again. So you talked about the regulations and the agencies. Could you now go ahead and expand on it now, please? About 7 to 10.
You know, like we've been talking about doing business in Nigeria and all that. It's like he mentioned, because of costs and all that, you know, how do we get our businesses registered? Because most times people probably will not want to do business with you as an individual. Even if they start off with that, there'll be a time where they will want to see that you have a name, you know, that is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And then it depends on the level of business deals you want to get into. Now, let me start by, defining what a company is. It's a corporate structure with legal personal status. So a company can be sued, a company can sue. Regulated by CAMA. CAMA is the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which also sets up the Corporate Affairs Commission under sections 1 and 2, to regulate businesses and companies in Nigeria. Now, the minimum requirements to set up a company, if you want to set up a limited liability company, it's minimum of 2 shareholders, minimum of 2 directors for a limited liability company. And the age capacity is 18. So if you are below 18 by law, or unless under certain circumstances you're not authorized to register a company in Nigeria. What are the requirements? Number 1, the first requirement is to choose a name. What we usually advise is that you choose like 2 names, so that, or 2 or more names, so that by the time you go to CAC and back and forth, one of them will have pulled through. Most times what they do is that if it's generic, they turn it down. For example, you might not be successful if you want to register a name called Nigeria Business Enterprise Limited, because the word Nigeria is not unique to yourself. Names like Oh God Enterprises. Nobody will register such name because you're not the only one that knows this God. So you have to choose a name that sometimes what we'll do is to vary the name so that you can add 1 or 2 things, 2 or 3. What the CAC does is to add 2 or 3 words to your name so that it's unique and is different from the other names previously registered, or is not infringing on any copyright or trademark already in existence. Now, like he said, you can go to yourself on the CAC online portal and see whether you can search for that name yourself. Now, there's a fee for payment of name availability search. Now, that's what most lawyers include some of that part as part of their professional fees. Now, the next step is to choose what kind of company do you want to register. Private limited company, or a private unlimited company, or a company limited by guarantee. Because of time, I'm not going into all that details, but then the third thing is to say to yourself, what are the objects and the business of this company? What is the principal place of business? What is the share capital? Minimum share capital is 1 million. 1 million shares. Now divided into 1 naira, a unit of 1 naira per share. So you have 1 million naira. In other words, 1 naira per share, 1 million, minimum of 1 million shares for registration of a limited liability company. Now, the particulars of directors, minimum 2, like I said, directors will be required. A copy of their identification, valid ID, means of identification, and then particulars of who will become the company secretary of the company. Nowadays, those days, it wasn't compulsory, but now it's compulsory. So you must have a company secretary, a name of a firm or an individual as company secretary before you can register. And this registration is done under Part A of CAMA. Part A is companies, limited by shares or guarantee. Part B, business name. Part C, incorporated trustees, where you have your NGOs and your churches and your, all of that is Part C. Now, you'll be also required to furnish details of your shareholding of the company. So, for example, if it's 1 million shares, how do you intend to allocate those shares amongst your shareholders? So, as the brain behind this business, you can decide to take majority of the shares, maybe 80%, 70%, and because you want to get in some investors, you can give them maybe 10%, 10% here, 10% there to make up the 100%, the 1 million shares. So it depends on how you intend to, share, distribute those shares. And then, of course, the valid means of identification of those shareholders. And then you have the memorandum and articles of association, which should be prepared. What most lawyers do, and that's where variation in fees come in, they just tell you that the memo and articles of association will be as stated in Part C or Part B of CAMA, which is not a thorough job. I mean, a company limited by shares should have its memorandum and articles. Memo states what the objects, the vision of the company is, and articles of association says what the bylaws, the rules and regulations that will govern the company. And then the particulars of aliens, if there are any foreign nationals, you have to state that as well. Now, the fees. Applicants will be required to pay a filing fee to CAC. The official fees right now, I think, I'm not very sure, is about, to register a company is about 65. But you see that lawyers will charge you something between 80 and 100. That the reason is simple, because there are logistics involved. By the time they do a search 1 or 2 or 3 times, they pay a fee as well. Now, it depends on wherever you are in Nigeria. If you're not in Abuja, there will be courier services and then professional fees as well. For a business name, it used to be 15,000 official fees. Well, I guess some lawyers will charge you between 25 and 30. But now, the government, within the past few months, decided to bring it down to 10 official fees. But the stories we hear at CAC is that that is not even possible, because by the time you get there, your job that you filed because you want to pay 10,000 naira, some jobs, some certificates are still pending. And of course, you know the Nigerian factor. So you can go online, like he said, you can do it yourself, but it's easier to just see how you can, look for someone, a professional, to go do that for you. Now, let's look at a business name. Now, because of the cost of registering a company in Nigeria, and you want to do a business, sorry, can you tell me how much time I have left, because so that I can. Now, a business is not considered a company under Nigerian law. There are risks and liabilities, attached to a business name, particularly a failed business name. Now, the difference between a company limited by shares and a business name is simple. That's why it's called a company limited by shares. Now, what it means is that your liability as a director or shareholder in that company is limited to the number of shares you have in that company. Now, that's different from a business name. A business name means that when that business fails and there are debts or liabilities, they will come and hold you responsible, if possible, even send you to jail. That's the difference. But a business, for a company, you are limited to the number of shares that you have in that company. So everybody pays to the sum. I'm not making myself very clear. So you're limited to, so if for example, 1 million shares and I have 100,000 shares in that company, and the company goes bust. Now, if there are debts to be paid, I will only pay to the tune of my 100,000 shares. So if somebody else has 800,000 shares, they will prorate it. So if, for example, it's a 1 million loan, 1 million debt to be paid. Now, out of that 1 million debt, what I will pay is 100,000. The person who has 800,000 shares will pay 800,000. But for a business name, if it is 5 million naira debt, I alone, because I'm the sole proprietor of that business name, will pay the 5 million naira debt. Is that very clear? Now, but because of the lower cost of registration, it's advisable to start up with a business name. But there are some places you can't even do that. As a business grows, there are some banks that won't even talk to you because you're a business name. So that means you start looking for how to either convert your business name to a limited liability company, or you abandon it completely and do for another name search so that you can register a proper company so you can start transacting business with some of the banks. Now, under Section 21, there are so many type of companies. I won't go into details of all that. Company limited by shares, public company limited by shares, limited by guarantee, private company, public company. Now, let us focus on the private company limited by shares. Now, like I said before, this is the most sought after because it's easier to, incorporate and do business with this kind of company. Now, it is mandatory for the directors of a private company to also hold shares. So it's not mandatory, rather. So it's possible that I can be a shareholder and not be a director. It's also possible that it can be a director and not be a shareholder. Is that clear? So, the laws in Nigeria setting up companies put some limitations. You can't be an infant, like I said before, and register a company, or a bankrupt and register a company. Now, in Nigeria also, foreigners are allowed to own 100% shares in our companies. Unlike Ghana, where you must have an indigene to own at least 50% of the shareholding. Am I right? Yeah, 50% of shareholding. But in Nigeria, we are allowed to company, but you have to meet some various requirements under the law. Now, government have tried to see how they can, fast track the registration of businesses in Nigeria. Like, our vice president have been going on air saying that, it's easy to start up business. Now, they want to see how they can just streamline that process at CAC. Now, how to register a business name, because that's where I want to actually go to, because that's where, a lot of small and medium scale businesses, find themselves in. Simple. Now, if you want to register a partnership, like we've been thinking, doing businesses together, that is where you can now go to register a business name. For example, you can have a partnership agreement in place and say, okay, we're into the same thing. Five of us are coming together. We're going to drop a partnership agreement and register a business name. So what you have is that you have 5 proprietors under one business name. So all of you will have one business name, and then have a deed of partnership that will guide your interaction with each other. So that saves you cost. Now, most times people do this because they want to go into businesses that render services. Lawyers, architects, schools, like that, services. But most times, like I said, if you want to do businesses with the banks, and will require you, they will ask you for your limited liability company that you've registered. So that's, one of the difference between the two. Now, it takes normally, they said it should take between 48 hours to register a business name. I don't know how how possible that is in this climate now, but that's what it is. Within 48 hours, you should have a certificate. But what the practice is that within 1 or 2 weeks, your business name certificate should be able to get to you. So first of all, fill the form to apply for a name check. Fill the necessary forms. After filling the forms, you would print out the business form and then send it to CAC. Now, all your ID card, all your means of identification, receipt of payments, everything will be submitted to CAC. Like I said earlier, the official cost is about 10,000 naira. Now, it used to be 15. So, by the time you do all that, you find out that in the less than some few days, your certificates will be out. Now, let me just talk about, as I close, briefly on the things that will affect, some of the things that will affect your registration, your business name or your company registration in Nigeria. Once you have your certificate of registration or incorporation, there are certain things which you may have to do. Failure, of which could, attract fines. Number one, immediately you register your company or your business name, you should talk to your bankers. They should be able to generate for you a TIN, what they call the income tax and value added tax number from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Sometimes they help customers do that, yes, because if you don't, nowadays they can attach the funds in your account without your permission actually and freeze the accounts. After 18 months of doing business and you've not paid your tax. Second thing is you need to register with the Special Control Unit Against Anti-Money Laundering. if applicable. There are some businesses that they've listed that need to do that. It's called SCOMO. If you don't do that, that's Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, an arm of EFCC. So the first thing is your TIN number. Second thing is to register with SCOMO if it's applicable. And then the third thing is to hold your annual general meeting as at when due, and then file your returns after the annual general meeting. Now, there are institutions that we must take into consideration when you register it depends on what area of business you are into. Now, the Nigerian Customs Service might affect your business. So you might need to go see them if it affects your business to register with them. The Nigerian Immigration Service, if you're getting in foreigners to come work for your company in Nigeria. Federal Inland Revenue Service, like I mentioned before. NAFDAC, SON, Standard Organizations of Nigeria. So it's not just enough to register your business name or your company. You need to take into consideration all these other regulatory agencies as well. Now, for the requirements of, for example, if you set up a school and then you register under Part B of KAMA, in Lagos State, most schools are regulated by the Ministry of Education. So you need to go to Lagos State Ministry of Education, Alausa, to get a certificate to operate a school if you want to operate in Lagos State, for example. So there are other, I'm just using that as an example, there are other areas of business which you need to look for and find out, apart from registering with CSC, who are my regulators? Who are my regulators? So you need to submit so many things with them. So let's look at the laws. The Custom Duties Act, the Factories Act, the Healthcare Act for people who work for, who have businesses that affect staff health and welfare, Trademark Act, Nigerian Standard Acquisition Act, the Companies Income Tax Act, Nigerian Enterprise Promotion Act, Nigerian Local Content Act, Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy, Central Bank of Nigeria Act, Security and Exchange Commission Act for those who are involved with trading and stock exchange activities, even the Federal High Court Act. So finally, she mentioned local government, and I want to even point out that what we do in this country sometimes is double taxation. The local government comes and says they want to collect tenement rates, right? They stop you for that, and also the federal government say they want to come and collect land use charge. There is a federal high court ruling abolishing all that practices. So if you pay your land use act, you're not supposed to pay your tenement rate. So if you know all these things, when they come, you tell them this, they don't come again because they know that you know your law, or you know your rights rather. So we need to have information about particular labor laws, foreigners working in your firm. To get, of course, you have to liaise with Nigerian Immigration Service to get work permits and all that. Work safety rules, expatriate quota, residence permit, certificate of capital importation if you're importing things from outside this country, filing employment and income tax returns, building codes, and health and environmental laws. So apart from registering your business, there are all other things that are, attached to doing business in Nigeria, which we must know. So when you do all these things, I'm sure you'll be on the good side of the law. I'm sure if you have further questions, we can treat them as they come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please let's put our hands together for Barris to go there. Please, I would like to announce, please, lunch will be served in here. Okay, we are going to serve lunch in here. And please, there are two other information I'd like to share. P1 Edge, just like was talked about, has said it's going to do something like they do training in real estate marketing. So for everybody who is interested in real estate marketing, who wants to be trained in this, for today only, there's going to be a 50% registration discount for today, for partnership, okay? 50% discount, registration discount. They have, just for today alone, they have a booth, a stand out there, so you could very well go there and do all the inquiries you wish to make. Then, sorry, could we show that for Rapid, please? Rapidduty.com. Hello? No, this is not it. Rapid duty. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, the gig economy is a freelancing 101. So what they simply want to do is their freelance website where you can be retrained and equally sell your skills online. There's a link there. All you simply need to do is just log on there, just go to the link and then do your registration and that's it. And then we start off from there.
It's been a long day, and please, I hope we're not tired because we still have a lot more to share and a lot more knowledge to gather. I'd like to call on someone who I really, really admire from a distance. He's a friend in my head, and over the years, I've gotten to know him. Sometimes we just exchange messages and chat every now and then. He's a popular celebrity styling. Just before we go on to the next thing, I'd like to ask a man here. I don't know how many of the men here were here much earlier in the day when we had the TED Talk. Okay, sir, you lost 4 million naira in a business deal. Please, quick question: what 7 things affect communication from that video? Just give me, and you get a freebie, because people are outside winning all the freebies, and we want some of you to get freebies in here.
Could you please rephrase your question?
Did you watch the TED Talk video?
I did.
Okay, there were 7 things that were mentioned. Okay, sorry. 7 things were mentioned from the speaker, from the video we watched. Yeah. Nobody looking into your notes, please. Nobody should. Don't look into your. I see people looking into your notes. Don't look into your notes. 7 things were said to communication, things that people say, but it becomes a negative. People don't want to listen to you when you say those things. Can you mention 7 of them?
Okay. One is being judgmental. I can't have been coming right to
Okay. Anybody wants to try? I hope you didn't look into your notes.
John Okore. Gossiping, okay. Judgmental, yeah. Being judgmental. Okay. Negativity, complaining, lying, dogmatism, and I forgot.
I think let's put our hands together for him. I think he did excellently well. Well, on that note, you've won yourself a free haircut from a very reputable barber shop in Lagos. It's with the VIP Beauty Clinic. So go with this voucher and earn yourself a free haircut. We would like to thank the director of VIP Beauty Clinic for that voucher in the person of Mrs. Otuonye, there standing. Thank you so very much, madam. The next person we'd like to call up is someone whom we respect so very much because she's a business coach. She's had several years as a professor of business in the United States before returning to Nigeria. Now she mentors and coaches people and organizations through Oasis schools. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me recognize Professor Awosika.
Thank you very much. So sorry to come in so late. It's a drama out there. I actually left my driver in traffic, waded through the water, fell in the water, you know, but it's all good. Well, I was invited to give a very brief speech about opportunities in education. And I'm sure you know they are vast. Unfortunately, in this country, we've tried to steer our children off of education, which I think it's a problem. Because if there's nobody to teach, you know, how do we learn? First of all, I always say that education is a business, but teaching is an art. So a lot of people say, no, you can't apply the tenets of business to education. But yeah, teaching, if you want to say, I want to be I'm a teacher, yeah, it's an art. We appreciate that. But education, it's a business. It has to be profitable. You have to strategize. You have to know what you're doing. Second thing about education is, it's the only, well, not only, it is recession-proof. Whether you want to go to school or whether there's a recession or not, you got to go to school. So it's recession-proof. And not only that, it's actually, how many of us are economists here? You know, we did a little bit of economics, you know, dabble. Yeah, yes, sir. Pastor. How do we understand inelasticity? When we say something is inelastic. So education is price inelastic. If you change the price, it really doesn't matter. They're gonna go. If you raise it, they'll say, well, they're gonna go anyway. If you lower it, yeah, they're gonna go. So it's price inelastic. So it's a win-win when you're in education. And so what about opportunities then? Well, from crèche all the way to university, there are immense opportunities. But you have to now ask yourself, how can I do it differently? You start your crèche, all you need is just a few beds, cots, and a nanny, and food, diapers, and in fact, parents actually bring those things for their children. So if you want to do that, that's a great sector to be in. You can start a primary school. You can start it as medium size or small. You can even make it as big as possible. So the whole spectrum. If you have a lot of money, you do it big. If you have very little money, you start it small. So primary, secondary, even university. There are small private universities. There are big private universities. Vocational education is something that I believe that we need to get involved in this country. There are no plumbers anymore, no mechanics, they come from Benin Republic, and they command a lot of money for things that I actually know how to tile. And how did I learn to tile? I went to a Home Depot. This was in the US. And they gave me a 2-hour lecture on how to tile. And if I tile my house, I tiled my house. And if I tile for you, you would think that a professional did it out of a 2-hour lecture. So it really does not take anything to learn how to tile. I can sew. I learned it on my own. So when you acquire skills, and these skills have served me throughout my life. So I save money, and now even the fashion skills, I extended it to my secondary school, where the children also learn how to sew and how to do things with their hands. So yes, a university degree is good, but if you get it, please try and find something to do with your hand as well. The Bible says that God will bless the work of your hands. And so it actually means you have to be a professional. So it could be, business is a profession. Medical profession, yes, a doctor is a professional. A lawyer is a professional. You open up shop and you start up a legal office. So you are a professional. So and a teacher is a professional. So get yourself a profession and do it. So apart from all the universities and whatnot, you also have training and professional development consultants. You can do it for the corporate environment. You can do it for individuals. Basically, the opportunity in education is immense. As long as we continue to have babies, we are going to continue to have education in demand. And so what you do is, don't do it like anybody else. Try to do it differently. And I'll give my example, and then I'll turn the mic over. Some of my people, encouraged me to start a secondary school. And I told them, I said, why would I start a secondary school? What would I do differently? I don't just want them to go through the curriculum, Lagos State curriculum, and then, we go through examinations, and then that's it. And then I sat down, I was thinking about it, and it came to me, yeah, I can start a secondary school, but it'll be different. First of all, we will flip the classroom, which means we're not lecturing in my classes. The kids will have to read the material, know a little bit of what we're going to discuss in class, and then come to the classroom and let's do practicals. And they said, but the children, they won't know, how would they form notes? And say, we'll teach them. And not only that, we will have to use technology, because if we don't use technology, then the class time gets extended and we don't have time. So if the children read the material before they come, we show the videos and everything to them, on an LMS, which is your learning management system. So we started the iClass learning management system, and we put all their lectures on it. If a kid doesn't come to class in one day, he doesn't have to worry, because he can go on the iClass and learn about what we did in class that day. And so then we will have to do entrepreneurship, because when they get out, they're looking for jobs. Why, if you know what you can do, why would you be waiting for a government job? So I decided to package that together, and we redesigned the curriculum, and lo and behold, several parents will see me on the road and say, Prof, my kids are loving it. Because we don't assume that they know nothing before coming to your classroom. And because children like activities, they spend the time in class with activities that reinforces what they themselves have already learned. So whatever you're going to do, you want to start training people, you want to teach, you want to start a primary school, a secondary school, whatever, make sure it's different. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you and welcome once again. What the professor said actually still, there's a tie back to what Noble talked about earlier, right? About knowing who it is you want to serve, okay? And doing your own thing differently. Everybody wears the white socks, he wears the green. He wants to be different. He wants to stand out. You wear your yellow socks too, yeah? Okay, I understand, sir. But you need to be different, you need to stand out. Stand your business out. Don't be the regular, be different. So thank you very much once again, Prof. Any questions for the Prof? Any questions? Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
I just want to ask, how were you able to manage the curriculum expectation of the country with the innovation you brought into it? So how were you able to marry the two together?
Well, thank you very much. What we did was, because we use technology, because the children have already been exposed to the content of the Lagos State curriculum, we found out that it shaves about 15 minutes off the class time. So if class time is 45 minutes, the teachers are finding that they only need about 30. So what it does is it scoots things up so that you have an extra amount of time. Usually what we do is on Fridays, that is when we do our entrepreneurship curricula. So if you're going into music, you go into music. If you're in the fashion class, then you go into fashion. But not only that, we now had a teacher who takes them in, during prep time, she takes them in entrepreneurship, practical entrepreneurship. We embedded the entrepreneurship curriculum in everything. There's entrepreneurship in mathematics. There's entrepreneurship in music. There's entrepreneurship in English. There's entrepreneurship in agriculture. There's entrepreneurship in science. So every teacher teaches entrepreneurship as it pertains to their subject matter. So we don't have an extra class for entrepreneurship that will take up our time. So we cover the Lagos State curriculum, and at the same time we got to do what we really needed the kids to learn.
Thank you so much, Prof. I really appreciate your contribution. I want to ask a question because my experience with artisans particularly is that if you try to engage them for a job and you ask them, can you tile? Can you do plumbing work? The answer is usually, I can do much, much better than you can imagine. And by the time he's done, you are wondering, I could have done this myself and I could have done a better job. And I think it stems from the Nigerian spirit that, we can do all things. If you ask a Nigerian, can he fly a helicopter? He says, why not? I can fly it. It's a chopper. So I'm thinking that for those of you that are in education, there is a need at this particular point in time to set up a certificated center where people can be trained on tiling. Plumbing is the worst. I've lived in about 5 homes since I came back to Nigeria. There's a problem with plumbing. So why can't we start a school and then interface and engage with other construction companies and say, look, if you need a tiler, come to our school. If you need a plumber, come to our school. I think it's high time we began to do that. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, Lagos State already does that. LASVEB is the arm of the government that does, but they don't go there. Okada and these quick money-making trades discourages children. Samsung has something like that they set up for people to get trained and get certified. I think Schlumberger, also the construction company, they do that as well. So these types of centers are available, but people just don't go there. And they don't cost anything. For most of them, they're free, but they just don't take advantage of it. What a group of people that I know are working at is to now not even take these skills out of the schools, but embed them in the curriculum so that you get it, you learn it. You have to learn it the right way. If you're in school and your teacher is saying no, it's not good, you can't free yourself. You know what I mean? Freedom. They learn, and they learn it halfway, and then once they think they know a thing or two, they scram, and then they go to you and say, I can do this, and yet they didn't stay to learn the right way and the complete trade. So it's a big problem, but we with Lagos State and the rest of them are trying to find a way to solve that problem. But yes, there are centers that can certify you.
Sorry, what we'll do, I think we'll take all the questions at once, then so the Prof attends to them one after the other.
All right. Good evening, Prof. I have two questions. I'm into education. I run a school. The issue I have, I really desire for children to have these hands-on skills, but looking at the time, you resume school at 7:30. Before you know it, the school is over, trying to cover up the curriculum. What time how can we create time for children to learn the skills? Because one day is not enough, one day in a week is not enough to teach these children. So how can we create the time to do this? Then secondly, how can you fund education without necessarily, taking loans from banks? Thank you.
Next person. Next person.
Oh, okay. Let me take the last question first.
Sorry, hello, ma'am. Sorry, I hope you don't mind if we just get all the questions. Sorry. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My research has continued to show, for instance, in Lagos, that 80% of schools ownership in Lagos, particularly at the secondary school level, are women. And then I want to know what is the trend, what is the reason for that phenomenon. Yourself, you are a female who is doing well. Why is that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, ma. Sorry, the center you mentioned, the problem we have is that most people don't know about our centers. Nigerians have to know about the centers, these skill centers. Most people don't know. Even me myself, I'm surprised hearing from you. So that is the major problem. No information in the country. So please, you need to work hard on that so that people will be aware of it. So that these people can go and learn from there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma. I have two daughters, and one day in a week they are occupied with their vocational studies, and two of them are involved with two different things. One loves to make hair, and the other one wants to be a fashion designer. Now, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm happy that my husband is right here, because I remember the first time she came with the letter from school that she was very interested in making hair. My husband was a bit upset because he felt like this is not the time to talk about making of hair. You have to read your books. But the thing is, in my house we're four. We grew up as we're four, and I have three siblings. I'm into fashion designing, and the other three are doing the 8 to 5 jobs, and they're very frustrated. They want to leave and pursue what they want to do. Our parents are actually involved in killing the vibes once it comes. They need to work on themselves. A child wants to do something. I don't think any parent should feel like the child is doing something wrong. Because as soon as they show that desire to want to get themselves involved in one or two things, you just feel like, my child wants to turn a fashion, he wants to turn a tailor, or she wants to be a hair maker. But the simple truth is, we are all keeping our certificates right under the suitcases now, and we're pursuing these things. So since they are starting, I'm very, very excited, because seeing my daughter, a 5-year-old, doing these things, I think she's starting right on time. And I can imagine at 18 what she'll be doing. So I just want to encourage parents that when they come, please don't make them feel like they're doing anything wrong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first question. How do you start a school without loans? I don't know, because I'm still waiting for the bank that will lend me money. So they're very, so sorry, I'm sorry there are bankers here. They're very miserly, very stingy with, the loans. So they don't give it easily. I started a small operation. They won't lend me small money. They won't lend me big money. They won't lend me money at all. So, so I don't know how you even get banks to fund you. Now, what you do when you want to start your school, and as anything at all, is to start small. Start small. When we started, we only took JS1 students. No JS2 to SS, no. You start with just one class, and luckily, where we started, we owned it. So start with what you own, and start there, start small, and let your teachers know your dreams, so that if they catch the dream, then they'll stick with you through thick and thin. And so with a little bit of money saved, to buy the desks and chairs, and have the first month or two's salary, you could start. So that's that for that question. Your second question is, how do you make time for the children? Well, we made time by flipping the classroom. So the time the lecturer or the teacher stands in front of the children dictating notes or putting notes on the board, that's gone. So they read the notes themselves. Now, you may not be able to do that, but these are things that even kids in primary school in the US do. So they learn the material before coming to class. So it's, and also, if a video can be shown to demonstrate what you're trying to teach them, show the video. It saves a lot of time from one lecturer trying to, a teacher trying to explain, a concept, when the kids could actually see the concept when it is done. So that would give you, a little bit of time there. Sir, you said your research showed that women were mostly the ones that studying schools. Well, let's take a look at it. What's the ratio of men, the ratio of men to women in the teaching line? Aren't women more than men that teach? So it goes to show that, the same trend that's happening. And why do women mostly teach? I think it gives you time for your family. So you have time for your children. There are long vacations. There are a lot of holidays that's given to teachers. And so women tend to be teachers so that they can marry their profession as well as their families. So I think that sort of explains that situation. Making people aware of what LASVEB and other institutes are doing, well, it's probably true. I found out about them because I needed something. And so if you don't need them, you probably won't find out. So maybe we'll have to ask Lagos State and all other institutes to at least, propagate their material. Making hair. Don't kill the vibe. That is so important. If your kid wants to learn something, let them learn it. They can absorb a whole lot of things than you can think of. They take 17 courses in classes now. I mean, and some of them you're saying, 17 courses, what can they learn in that time? But they do, they learn it. Children up to the age of 13 can learn as much as 8, 10 languages if you throw it at them. So let them learn it. When I was in high school, I chose typing over physics and whatever. I mean, don't ask me why. And when I got to the US, it saved my life because I could type term papers for my classmates, and it was $1 a page. Yes, so, and someone would say, why would you take typewriting, when everybody was doing physics, maths, chemistry, biology? It's not for me. So I did what I was interested in, and it paid off. So whatever they want to learn, how long does it take to learn how to do hair? Let them do it. Take a summer off. Take a weekend, every weekend, let them go to a shop and, in the end, they would still become the doctors and the lawyers that you want them to become. But they will do exactly what Madame said. They will present the lawyer certificate to you and say, this is yours, daddy. This is yours, mommy. Now I'm going to go do what I want to do. We have a lot of examples among us. How many of you do what you went to school for? Please, raise up your hand. Nobody. See, nobody. Nobody. So we get but it's good. It's good to get that education because it opens your mind. It allows you to see things differently. And the things that you would do when you're educated, I mean, the way you would do it when you're educated is not the way you would do it when you're not educated. So we need that education. And it now makes fashion more profitable because you're now applying some other skills, to that fashion. So please, whatever your kid wants to learn, let them learn it. It might pay off in the end.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very well said. I think we are really, really blessed and fortunate to be here at this program. And like you all know, it was free registration. This is a program you go to and you pay a lot of money for. And we can't thank the church enough for this opportunity and privilege to have seasoned entrepreneurs and professionals come share from their wealth of knowledge. Freebie time, who's excited? Freebies, okay. We have 2 beautiful freebies. The first freebie, I would like for Noble Igwe to ask the question. If you were here and you heard him speak, he spoke passionately about fashion, styling, entertainment, arts, and all of that. Noble, based on what you've shared, please throw a question to a woman, not a man, to a woman. Anybody who wins this, who gets the answer, you get a free outfit from Las Morin. a free outfit. And I know that those outfits are not cheap. So ladies, get ready. Question, Noble.
So what year did I leave Virgin Nigeria for 141 Worldwide?
Beautiful question. What year did he leave Virgin Nigeria for 141 Worldwide? Sorry, someone wants to answer? Have the mic, okay.
2008.
Correct. Oh, fantastic. Congratulations, ma'am. You win a free outfit from Lasmoren, and that is a big deal. Fantastic. The next, Lasmoren, please, let's recognize Mrs. Okucha. She's the director of Lasmoren. Please, you get to meet her and know when to go take your measurements. Right. The next question will come from Alex. Alex, like he told us about the techie stuff and how to prepare for our future, how the future, our work should be for the future. Now we have this amazing multi-function USB flash drive donated to us from 1333 Creations. So Alex, please go. Male, female, boy, girl. Anybody who is ready?
All right. Okay. I talked briefly about the characteristics of the workplace of the future.
Very good.
What were those characteristics?
Don't look into your notes, please.
No,
I really want this USB.
Yeah, not sure.
iPhone, Android, your laptop, everything. That's beautiful. Okay, someone's about to answer the question.
So there were several characteristics you mentioned. One is remote working, and another is a time when we don't actually have to have people just in a paid employment, and so people can actually, you can actually have a pool, a skill pool, where people just source for a particular skill, and they have the kind of contractual agreement, and they get that done, and they get paid. So there is no constant 8 to 5, meaning people can work from home.
Remote working.
And then people can actually, employers themselves, for the employer side, they don't have to have all those costs of having, okay, it's still bordering on remote working.
What do you think?
He's trying. I think there's just one more thing that I'm not hearing.
Okay, so there's something else about, was that about the working again? But basically, there was also something you mentioned about not ownership. People not really necessarily owning things, and basically they want to get access to those things. And as far as they're able to get those access,
great stuff.
They'll pay for it.
All right, congratulations. You get to win this. Well done. To wrap this up, we would like to have each one of the speakers say like a parting word, an advice about our hustle. So we'll start with you, Dr. Omwumere.
Thank you very much once more for the opportunity to speak to people and to affect destinies. Whatever you do, if you are between the age of 25 and 60, get involved with real estate.
And he drops the mic. Well said. Yes, please, next person.
Like we said, and it's so nice to hear that the speakers that have come after, you see a common thread in everything that has been said, right? Good. So if there's some parting words, be a learning individual.
Very good.
Be a learning individual. Look at the trends. Anticipate the trends and take advantage of the trends. Thank you.
So like I said, be intentional, be consistent, and remember to pray. Thank you.
Well, innovation is doing things differently.
Yeah.
So dare to be different.
Wonderful.
I'll say, in all that's been said, and in trying to drive our businesses on our different ideas, let us try not to be on the wrong side of the law. So register your business so that you can be on the right side of the law.
Fantastic. Very well said. Thank you so very much. Our facilitators and our speakers, you really have honored us. We feel more than honored to have you here, sharing from your nuggets and your truths and your experiences. And on behalf of the team that was able to put this together and the senior pastor of the church who has supported us immensely, we would like to say a very big thank you to you for your time and your presence. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for braving the rains and being here. Thank you for being optimistic. And we wish you guys the best in your careers and in your businesses. We hope that when we see next year, when we're having the Job Fair 3.0, we'll be bigger and better in Jesus' name. Have a great evening. And please, I guess you can walk with us. Oh, photographs, please. We'd like to take some photographs, please. We'll call on the pastors, please, to the fore. Right, the exhibition stands are outside, and guess what? Freebies, lots and lots of freebies are also outside. Just in case you didn't win any freebie here, you still have an opportunity to win lots of freebies outside. Music is outside, you can dance, we're grilling stuff, you can eat some more. Buy them. Yeah. And then please visit our stands. We also have opportunity for people to register for internships. You saw the link that was loaded up. Media, please put up that link. You have opportunity to talk to other successful entrepreneurs, find out what they are doing, networking sessions, mentorship programs. And again, we also have a program coming up from next week. We want to collect people who are interested in owning businesses or bettering their business. We would like for you to pick up the registration form and also register for that program. And that's it. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your evening.